Begley.
Hey, thanks for everybody joining us today. Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today we're with Heather Begley. She's from the Shoals CASA group. They host the Rogersville Gives Back event every fall. Heather, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Heather, give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up, and talk a little bit about your family and your career?
Sure. So I grew up here in Florence, Alabama. Grew up in the Shoals. The Shoals area is known for music. We have a lot of great musicians that come out of the Shoals area. I graduated with my undergrad from the University of North Alabama. For those who are familiar, we call it UNA. I have a bachelor's in social work, received a master's degree in social work from the University of Alabama. And I've spent my adult life in some form of fashion and social work. I started out at the Department of Human Resources many moons ago, did my internship there. And then for about 8 years, I provided what was called in-home services. I was an in-home social worker that worked with families that were involved with CPS in order to help them with reunification, get their kids back, or family preservation and keep children from being removed. And then about 3 years ago, I came as executive director of Shoals CASA. And what we are at Shoals CASA is we're court-appointed special advocates for youth and foster care.
Yep. Where did the festival come from?
So the festival has a unique story to it. So for the 8 years, I did in-home services for a nonprofit. Every Christmas, I was able to get sponsors to sponsor Christmas for the families that I provided services for. When I became the executive director of Shoals CASA, the local CPS, which if you hear me call DHR, that's Department of Human Resources, that's CPS in this area, had reached out to me and said, hey, would you be able to help us with some Christmas for some foster kids? And at that time, I thought, sure. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just had faith in God. We'll find a way to make this happen. So that was probably March of 2021. So I would say April, I received a phone call from Lara Shelton. And Lara Shelton is an amazing individual that lives out in Rogersville, Alabama. Her daughter's name is Jaylyn Owens. And Jaylyn, actually, at the age of 5, her mom together started a little nonprofit called Kids Helping Kids.
Okay.
And so they've always worked with Shoals CASA to do backpack drives, just different things to help foster kids in need. So Lara had reached out to me because she had a really good relationship with the previous director of CASA, and she said, we would love to continue a partnership with you guys. And I said, well, what are you thinking? And she says, well, my daughter, she told me about Jaylyn, and if you've not met Jaylyn, she's a phenomenal little girl. And so she said, well, let me tell you about my daughter and her heart for helping foster kids. And I said, well, you want to help? I have a way you can help. I said, let's look at doing something to raise money for Christmas for foster kids. And she, without even hesitating, was like, absolutely. We would love to help. That's a great opportunity. And so there was actually some other community members that found out about what we were doing and kind of came together at Rogersville Community Park and sat down and discussed what we wanted our first festival to look like. The goal behind our Rogersville Give Back is to support CASA's mission in helping and supporting children in foster care. First year, our goal was $25,000, and we made our goal $25,000 and a little bit over, and we took care of about 123, 125 foster kids with a focus mainly on teens in foster care and those aging out of the system, because a lot of times those are the kids who are in foster care, but nobody wants. You have Toys for Tots that takes care of toddlers. You have the Angel Tree that takes care of elementary age kids, and then you have other programs that donate gift cards to teenagers in foster care. But I have teens myself, and so as a mother, I know the importance of Christmas morning for a kid.
Yep.
And so I said, the least we can do for these kids who've been through, the things that they've been through is give them one day where there's something they can look forward to and be excited. So we were happy to take care of foster kids. Last year, our goal was for $50,000, and we made over $51,000. that money went to took care of about 230 kids. That wasn't just foster kids. That were total kids that our agency served and that came before DHR,
Sure.
CPS that needed services. We were blessed by a local church for them to donate $40,000 worth of toys.
Uh-huh.
So we had kind of converted our office to Santa shop, where we actually opened up our doors to local CPS workers where they could come in and personalize shop for the younger kids or the kids who just came into care, because I was also asked to cover any foster kid that came in after November 1st.
Sure.
And that just fluctuates. So that's kind of how it started. It started with Lara reaching out to me and DHR asking, hey, can you help? And that's just trusting in God that he would provide. And he showed up and showed out. And, we're excited that this year we have October the 21st. So we're really excited that this year it can be bigger and better. Okay,
very good. So to the listener that's never been there, they show up this year. What are they going to see? What are they going to smell? And what are they going to hear? Smell meaning food. Hear meaning music, environment, things that are going on.
So I joke and say, and I've shared a video on our Facebook page when I walked around live last year. Last year was like a Hallmark movie cutout. I mean, it was fantastic. We had over 30 vendors. That's people, local vendors that do arts and craft that make, things from candles to clothing to, just you name it. We have it out there. Those vendors have already asked, hey, can we be at this year's event?
Right.
So we had over 30-something vendors. We had music all day. The event actually goes from 2 to 6. We say 2 to 6, but our vendors get out there at 7 o'clock in the morning, find their place. But when you walk in, you're going to see a long line of food trucks. Everything from tacos to funnel cakes to cotton candy to lemonade to barbecue. We have it all. We have amazing food trucks that are going to come back this year. And then we have local talent. So I come from a little bit of a musical background. My father was a preacher. And so being the youngest of 4 kids with blonde hair and blue eyes, I got put on stage to sing at church. So we come from a musical family. And then my husband's actually a musician who's played with several artists. And so for me, music just comes natural. So any event I have has got to have a music part to it. And so we've actually had some really good local bands who've already reached out to say, hey, can we be a part of that event? So you're going to have music. See what's going to hit you first, to see what you're going to see and smell coming in the gate, coming in the door. And then you're going to be just surrounded by a lot of wonderful local vendors and different items. We actually have an information table there to share about Shoals CASA and our mission, because we are a volunteer organization. So our CASAs are not paid employees. They're everyday community members who say, hey, I want to make the world a better place. And what better way to do that than to help foster kids in need? So they advocate for the best interests of those kids. So a lot of that's centered around educating the community on CASA. But last year was just a fantastic day. We had a local massage school show up and was giving free massages to the community. And then last year we had an outdoor movie theater at the end, and then fireworks.
Oh, very cool.
This year's event is going to be from 2 to 6, because what's popular in the fall in the South? Football. So we don't want to interfere with anybody's football game. So it'll be from 2 to 6. It's just a great time for the community to come out and just, we're coming out of COVID, we're coming out of shutdown and lockdown, and now is the time for us to kind of re-engage in our communities, get involved. And what better way to do that than to also help local abused and neglected children have support year-round?
Yeah, no, that's spectacular. Okay, 2 questions. I always ask this because I am in live music and live entertainment, so I always ask this. What is the best concert you've ever seen your entire life?
Best concert I've ever seen my entire life was Alter Bridge in Huntsville.
Okay.
And that was back in 2020. That was probably one of the best ones. And then I'm going back to see them when they come to Chattanooga in May.
There you go. All right. That works. Dead or alive, you could bring one musical act to your town. Who would you bring?
Oh, who would I bring? Dead or alive? I would love to see Michael Jackson live.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he was before his time with his outfits and his look, everything. I think a lot of people laugh about K-pop this day and time, and I'm like, K-pop is replicating Michael Jackson, who Michael Jackson was in the 80s.
Yeah,
so, I like Michael Jackson. I like all kinds of music. I like everything from, Morgan Wallen, which is my daughter's favorite, to, just Eddie Vedder. We're a musical family, so we don't discriminate when it comes to music.
Yep, I gotcha. Okay, this is the segment where you get to ask me a question. What would you ask me?
So you're a musician, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Who would you want to play a concert with if you had the opportunity and the means to do so?
So probably Kenny Chesney. And I say that I don't want to play just one concert. Like, I want to tour with Kenny Chesney. We've opened for a lot of people, and opening is great. It's good for exposure. It's good for that. It pays horrible. I make way more money touring on my own. But if I was going to tour with somebody, Kenny Chesney would be fantastic fit for us. That's a great question. I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. How do people find out more about what's going on there with you guys? Not only the festival, but also CASA. How can they get in touch with you and learn more?
Following our Shoals, and that's SHOALS, CASA, CASA Facebook page.
Yeah.
That is where all the information is. We actually have done a music fest every year in the spring. It's the Shoals CASA Music Fest. This year, we are not having the music fest because the city of Muscle Shoals is having a large festival. But our first year, we had House Sledge in the Review. I don't know if you're familiar with who they are. House Sledge is Percy Sledge's son.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of name brand, name people that we've had. We had Candace Baker last year, she's on American Idol. So we've got a lot of local talent in this area that we utilize.
I see you've got a golf tournament going on. That's always good.
Yeah, we have a golf tournament. That may be, if I can find a way to get music incorporated in that, music's going to be incorporated in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I've joked and said that this is my first year ever putting together a golf tournament. And my children are athletes, and I'm very athletic, come from an athletic family. And the thing is that's the one sport we've never played. Yeah. So it's a learning curve, but I'm excited. We've had a really good turnout so far in engagements with that, and just look forward to having a successful fundraiser so that we can keep providing advocacy services for our local abused and neglected children. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it greatly, and we will, we'll look forward to seeing you. Well, all right. Well, if you're ever in the area, you're more than welcome to come by October the 21st, Rogersville City Park. We will. Have music all day. All righty. Thank you. Surprises too. We're going to have some surprise musicians there too. So it should be a great event. All righty. Thank you for having us. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you. Well, baby, I'm on it with a ball